And hey guys, this is Fabio from the Kanz based in London. Thank you so much for your support, and keep following Shutter 16, this amazing channel, and everyone should come and support it.
Why don't we start by getting a little history on the band first? How did the four of you kind of first meet and begin playing music together?
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of a funny story because basically I came to London because in my country, in Italy, because I'm Italian, I didn't have a lot of chances to play underground music because, you know, Italy is a country of traditions and ancient values, which doesn't allow a lot to the California underground music. Born with Green Day, Blink-182, and stuff like that.
Sure.
This is what I grown up with. So I decided to go out and just find my way to start a new project by myself, and I knew I needed to find the right people. So I went to every open mic in London. I moved from my original city, which is Bologna in Italy, and I moved to London to find musicians in the open mics and the university that I was studying at, which was ICMB. And there I started finding the musicians that I needed to. I was looking for like crazy personalities, and the band had a lot of different changes during the time. I guess I had at the beginning we had a synth player, and then now it's changed, and now we have another synth player that it's a friend of mine, one of my best friends. He's Italian as well. It's called Francesco, and he comes from the conservatory, so he's like classical music. So he wasn't even like very familiar with the punk rock alternative sound. But this is why I think it makes a difference, because you know he has this very weird way of approaching rock music, which is more about the solfeggio and I don't know, and harmonies more than, you know, playing distorted guitars and very fast drumming. So he's one of the part of the band that makes it different for sure, with the synthesizer that gives a new fresh taste to the punk rock music of the 90s. And also we have a drummer which is Brazilian. I found him. He actually contacted me, and he was coming from the metal background, and then we became very good friends, and now he's also like shooting the videos for the band. So we're kind of starting a production team, or not just a band right now. It's becoming a little bit bigger than it was before.
Awesome.
There is a bass player, which is William. William is like a baby, is a little child. He's 20, but he looks like a little child, and he behaves like a little child. But this is why probably on the stage everyone is like very attracted by his behavior of a little baby on the stage. He's a bass player though. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, so now, what about the songwriting in the band? Who is there? One person responsible for that? Is it you, or do you kind of work together as a group?
So I would say that I am the main songwriter of the band. I usually it's just me with my guitar in my room, just like, you know, the mainstream kind of songwriter, and then I start like walking around in my room like a fucked up crazy guy. I just start thinking about how I imagine this song to be on a wide cinema screen, probably a music video, something like that. And then when I have the idea in my mind and it's pretty clear, then I present the idea to the band, and they all try to put something of them of their own. So William can put like a bass solo and some good groove stuff, and Raphael can maybe, I don't know, for some like double kick pedal, probably coming from the metal background.
Sure.
And Francesco starts like doing some harmonies into the main melody to make it sound more original.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, I just keep the main input, and then all the other guys just put a little bit more flavor.
Okay. Now, what are some of the things that kind of inspire you to write? Is it just stuff in your everyday life?
I guess the thing that really inspires me a lot, and this is something that I think comes from the origin of punk rock and in California and in UK as well, is this need of like expressing these very strong emotions and feelings that I feel like a lot of people just like me feel a lot during the day, but somehow these emotions get stuck inside ourselves for the simple reason that we need to get on with our jobs, with our routine and stuff like that. So
right.
when it has to come out through the music, it's just a liberation, you know. It's like you want to free out all of these emotions. So most of my songs, they speaks about accepting all the emotions, from the anger to the love, and from the worst one to the best one. But they also think about very philosophical topics that speaks about appreciating the little treasure that is inside of all of us, or feeling comfortable in a relationship between two people that probably has some mental issues. So it's a kind of accepting reality even when it's brutal, and enjoying whatever is that feeling that we're feeling in that moment, that emotion. And yeah, I think like my music is just an expression of this purpose.
All right, so that kind of brings us then to the latest video that's out, Life Streaming Past, and you did mention that your drummer Raphael was producing that, so that's pretty cool to start having that kind of happen within the band and in-house. But tell us a little bit about the storyline for that song and the video that goes with it.
Yeah, so for Live Streaming Past, which is very different from the usual kind of music that we do, we wanted to do a little break, a little ballad. I was trying to make a little spotlight about the fact that you know, in the song the lyrics talks about protecting your own dreams and following that little light that keeps you going on, gets you wake up in the morning and say, okay, I have got something to look forward to. And having something to look forward to, I think, is something that keeps you alive somehow. So this is what the song is about. We try to translate this in something very simple that people could like could start accepting and understanding very, very quickly. So this is why we thought about this story with this little girl that looks like a scene queen from the 90s, 2008. She looks like really from the emo era at his best. And she starts this relationship with this tortoise and with this little animal, which is very small, simple, that she found just next to the river. And this tortoise represents somehow that little things that makes us happy, you know, that little light, that little spotlight, the light at the end of the tunnel. And she's just following this, you know. She just fell in love with this little animal. She starts a relationship as a friendship with the tortoise, and it somehow is like a metaphor to where, you know, every one of us can find love in very weird places, and it's that little thing that keeps us alive, that keeps us looking forward to that little dream, let's say. So this is,
Very
I would
nice.
say it's a kind of a metaphor video, the lyrics.
Yeah, very nice. Now, you did mention before Blink 182 and Green Day as being some of the bands that you would listen to. So your sound's kind of a mix because it's not something that you can kind of put into one genre, and that's a good thing, I think, because it just broadens your audience and the people that will maybe come and listen to you. But other than those two, what kind of artists have been your biggest inspiration musically?
I would say that so before I came to London, I had a very long experience into the musical theater. So I wanted to, it was something that I really loved about the musical theater,
Okay.
from the Broadway, the West End and stuff, and all these kind of, actually pretty small audience, because not a lot of people in the mainstream knows about all this music. But the thing that really interested me, it was so expressive as a music, and it was very strong, and because it was like an expression of real life, something that was actually happening on the stage, following a story. So what I'm trying to do with my songs is always keep the attention and the focus of the listener on the songs. I never wanted to get bored. There's always something changes. When you think like it's going in that direction, then I change it and I make it go in another direction. So I think musical theater was one of the main inspirations that make me put some of my background as a musical theater performer into the punk rock underground industry that I grown up with. And also I would say a lot of influences like My Chemical Romance, like Linkin Park. They had a lot of experimentation in their songs, like always trying to do something that maybe nobody has had listened before. So I'm always trying to, if I feel too comfortable, I say, no, I'm going to do something that I feel uncomfortable with and see what happens, so that people can feel the same way when they listen to it.
Okay, cool. Now, what about playing out? Because you said where you're originally from in Italy, not much chance really, and the underground scene is not really existing. But in London, it's everywhere. So what kind of gigs have you been playing, and what has the response been to the band locally there in London?
Yes, so far we played really a lot of gigs in London. Actually, mostly only in London, because we just went out of London just a few times. But since when we started, we started doing all the venues that it was possible to play. We wanted to really try out what was the reaction of the people to the band, and get as many opportunities as we could. So when we first started, we started playing the smaller venues like the Islington, or we played at the Amateur Arms, and then we grown up playing also at Cargo and bigger places, the Underbelly, so many. And now I think we're about 60 venues or something like that in London, different venues in just 1 year or something. And I would say that even sometimes you find yourself playing in front of just maybe 8 or 9 people. Sometimes it happens, but they still really enjoy the show, and they dance a lot. They're really part of the show. They're not just there watching. I want to make them feel like it's not just us playing, but they can feel part of it. So even when we play in bigger places, when there are like loads of people, or when it's packed, we still give the same energy, and people still respond in the same way, like with a lot of enthusiasm. And we play covers that maybe they can sing along with. And at the same time, we invite them to really jump on the stage with us and clap their hands and catching the boomerangs, because we basically throw boomerangs on the stage and people have to catch them. We kind of do a lot of like animation entertainment.
Okay, so I was going to ask about the boomerang. So the band throws the boomerangs out to the crowd first. Is that how it works?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I was going to say, do you guys sell those at your merch tables? If not, you need to get some official boomerangs to sell in the future so people can take them home.
Yeah, we should, absolutely.
Yeah, get your t-shirts and your hats, but get your boomerangs on there too, because I think that would be a cool item for you guys to have.
Actually, yes, that's an amazing idea, and I haven't thought about that. You know, the thing is, I was working as a toy demonstrator in Hamleys in London. You know, the very famous toy store, and I was demonstrating this boomerang, you know, which is made of foam. And then when I understood the power of it, because people were getting so you know, surprised by this, I started throwing this boomerang in the venues, and people were trying to catch the boomerang, but the boomerang was coming back to me.
Right.
And I thought that was an amazing way to, you know, to make people a part of the band.
Sure, that sounds really cool. Now, you have more things lined up in the London area, and is your ultimate goal to kind of break out into the rest of the country and the rest of Europe, or how do you plan on doing that?
Yes, so we are trying to, as I said, we mostly played in London so far, but we're trying to break through also our own boundaries, go out in the UK, and hopefully in Europe, touring Europe as soon as we can. Our numbers on Spotify and on the other platforms are growing up pretty quickly, so we're confident that we're going to be able to maybe get in contact with more agents and booking agency and people that want to collaborate with us to make this project actually break through the underground scene. I'm not sure when this is going to happen, but the ultimate goal is definitely to play as much live shows that we can, because we are definitely a live band. We're not just people to release music on Spotify. We're definitely a band that has to be seen live to get the full potential and the best vibes that you can get from it. So we're working hard to get to break through out of London and hopefully in Europe and worldwide, maybe one day.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. And if you ever make it to the U.S., you have to bring me a boomerang.
I'll probably make some boomerangs targeted the Kanz and because it's gonna be more famous the boomerang than the band.
Well, you got to start somewhere, so it's a good idea you hop on that. Now, what is the one thing that you would like people to know about the Kanz?
What I would really like them to know is that we're trying to bring the punk rock scene into the next level, because we felt like when we started the band that most of the bands were always having the same kind of team members, you know, 2 guitars, 1 bass, and the drums, sometimes only 1 guitar, which kind of was like encapsulating, like closing this genre in just a few kind of sounds. Like we wanted to bring the boundaries much far. Like we wanted to get to break through this and to do something new. So what I really would like them to know is that we're trying to bring the punk rock music to the next level and try to give people something that is really more new, more impressive, more expressive, and also more original.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today, and I hope that you guys have nothing but the best for the rest of the year and moving forward to bigger and better things.
All right, thank you very much to you, Shutter 16, and to Chris. It's been amazing to have this interview, really, and I hope to see you guys soon.